All right, in this video series, I want to explain to you how to use a sloper for contouring. And when contouring, this is the third principle of pattern making, and this is used when you need to have style lines that are going to cut near or close to the bust area, or come in and curve lower than what the neckline is. Sometimes we may get a gapping through here. Or if you've got armholes that are going to cut in and inwards, because our bodies are somewhat concave through this area before we have the bulge of the bust, as well as underneath the bust, it will cup in under there and then need to fit the body or the rib cage area in the torso area much tighter, depending on your different designs. So I wanted to address this as you get ready to make some of your patterns. And it's pretty easy to transfer this markings onto your sloper. I'm going to actually adjust my sloper. I think you also received one that had 2 darts for your full size 8 on here. And if you remember the slash and spread method, you would trace this sloper off, your front bodice in this case. And in here I've already drawn my slash lines from my dart points up to my bust point. We did this in pattern making 1 where we went from 1 dart to 2 darts. Here we can take it right back in reverse, taking our 2 darts to a 1 dart right here. And so I will close that up, expanding my lower waist dart to take up all of the fit in that one area. Now, I'm doing this because that is one way that the book has this laid out, so I'm going back to this original setup. Dart here and the rest of the torso. And I'm sorry I can't get this all in frame, but I'm doing the best I can for you. Now, the next thing for contouring, and this is addressed in your pattern book starting on page 159, and you can read through all the exact steps. I'm just kind of giving you an overview here. And one of the first things what we need to do is actually measure the distance from our bust point to where the lower part of the bust would come back in and begin to meet the rest of the body. So let's take a look at the dress form for a moment. There we go, in the bust area. So right up in here is where we need to measure from here in, because the pattern as it is would fit this in a plane. And now we need to make the adjustments and the markings to actually come in and cup around the bust area. Depending on what kind of designs you're doing, some of you may need that. Or if you've got that V-neck or a wide scoop, right in here, it needs to fit nice and form close to the body shape, and that's why we're going to be able to mark it for taking out that excess. But now, to get our size of our bust. So from our bust point, down to where it meets back into the body. And in this case, it is 2 3/8. Okay? So hopefully you got all that on there. Now then, 2 3/8. You can do it a couple different ways. You could take your ruler and lay it out and measure 2 3/8, and in increments make a circle around there. You can put a pencil inside a string, mark the string, push pin it here, and do a circle around that way. Or if you have the handy compass from your geometry class, I've already actually set mine at 2 3/8 so that I place the pivotal point on my bust point and then mark this all the way around. Whoops. Make sure your paper does not slide on you because it would not be a very accurate circle. All right, so that is the circumference of the bust meeting back into the body. Now I've already gone ahead on this piece and done the, drawn in the different guidelines, and the book will walk you through each one. And there's a specific number addressed to each guideline. That way, when you're doing other pattern work, you can, excuse me, I'm sorry, I was just trying to see what those numbers are, because it will make reference to the contouring placements here. That would be measurement or indicator 1 Indicator 2, let me see, indicator 3 is over here at the armhole. Indicator 4 is underneath the bust, so both sides of these are part of 4. Indicator 5 is center front bust, and indicator 6 is up here, and if that line extended, it would be the mid-shoulder. And what that means is that if I have a style line that's going to cut in and over, I'm just kind of quickly drawing those. If I have style lines that cut over some of these grayed areas, which is a place where I would actually need to take up that pattern piece so that my curve here fits nice and snug against the body, if I didn't do that, then I would have this gapping that somebody could see inside my blouse right there. Over here, this side is actually taken off for when you are doing a sleeveless garment, okay, or maybe a halter top style garment. Up here I have a neckline curve that this too would have this distance taken out, and just depending on where your style line crosses these lines gives you an indicator of how much would be taken out. So that's just kind of a crash course here, or overview, excuse me, it's not the crash course, the overview of contouring to get your pattern set up. In your book, page 159 starts the directions on how to do this pattern layout. Once you have this done and you have it drawn, you can actually go ahead and transfer it to your either oak tag or poster board, which I'm going to make one for myself. That way, in the future, I have it always ready. I don't have to go through all these steps every single time in drawing that. I'll just be able to draw it. And on my oak tag or poster board pattern, I can put punch holes right here so I could indicate with dots right where those would be, match it up with my ruler whenever I draw it on my pattern. Be very quick and easy. So that is the concept of contouring.